All right, here we are, just wrapped up the Potomac River, and man, had a fantastic week, as you can tell, and really saved the best for last here on this championship day. It started off good. You know, the very first day, first period, made a good decision on where to start, and honestly, I honestly felt like I had a lot of options. I had a pretty good practice, had multiple areas that had a decent number of fish in them, but chose to go to one that I thought would get some additional pressure. I was early boat number, so might as well take advantage of it, and I did, and it was good. It was very steady for me that first day. I just kind of moving with the tide, and caught fish on several different things. Caught some fish on a bladed jig, caught some fish on a buzz bait, but that first day, something that I had rigged up was just a real small compact jig, a 3/8 ounce small compact jig. Had a little crawl trailer on the back of it, green pumpkin orange, pretty standard, you know, crawdad kind of imitating color. But flipping that in those pads, fishing around some wood, that was something that really caught a lot of fish for me. But the setup that I was using that on was extremely important. That's the Johnny Morris Carbonlite series. It's the 7.4 heavy. It's called the Dragon Rod. It's in that Tech series, and I was using a Carbonlite 8-3-1 reel on it, and that name is perfect, being a dragon. It actually shows a Carolina rig on here, but I was dragging them out of that heavy cover with this rod, and had it spooled up a 20-pound XPS fluorocarbon line, and that little small jig, man, it's got a good beefy hook in it, and that was what I caught a lot of fish on that day, and you know, caught some fish in a couple different areas. I started in that main one, had one other secondary area not far from it. I went over there and caught another 30 pounds or something out of that. So right out of the gate, first day, I'm sitting in second place. I'm about 10 pounds off the lead. You know, if you win, you get an automatic berth in the championship round. So going out the second day, that was my goal. I wanted to try to win, get that automatic championship round berth. But there were other plans in store, and you know, I go back to my starting area, didn't work out, and you know, there was some other boats in there, and so I kind of went fishing. I had those other places where I knew some fish were, but the other big factor, we had some major wind. A little bit here, had some pretty good wind, but out, you know, more towards the mouth of the Potomac River, there was some big wind, and it really messed the tide up. It made that high tide super, super high, like 1.5 feet higher than it had been being, and that really trashed a lot of my areas. Plus, the big rain that we had was muddying stuff up. So I did everything I could to just survive that day. A lot of fish were caught, but it was a tough day on me, and I was able to survive partially on some release fish, just catching those fish on a bladed jig, and then made an adjustment to a creek again later and caught some fish back in there again. Knockout round day, man, I know I'm going to need to catch them, and I know I've got an area that's got them. So I end up going back to my starting area. I able to get in there right where I wanted to be, right where I'd fished the first day. Get in there in my starting area, and man, it was good. And I worked my way back, and got further back than I had on the first day, and caught them pretty good. And you know, just kind of milled around in there most of the day until I got to about 48 pounds, which I knew would be safe. Ended up having a little bit of time to go practice, and ended up doing that. But today, championship round day, I was honestly a little concerned because of how many fish I had caught out of this area. I knew some other competitors had been in there too, and just didn't know if it was gonna be enough. But did feel like if nobody else was in there and no other locals were fishing it much with me, that I would probably have a chance. And that ended up being the case. A couple other competitors that were in the top 10, they had other places that they felt better about, and they went and fished those, and I had this whole back of this creek all to myself. First time that's happened this week, and it was really, really special. And I actually got further back on that high tide than I ever would have imagined I'd have been able to. And once I got back in there, that water was much cleaner than it had been being, and a Bass Pro Wacky Stik-O really became the key player today. So that's just the Bass Pro Wacky Stik-O Sooner Run color. That's a bait that I helped them design a few years back. And it's just the perfect wacky rigging bait. It's actually symmetrical, you know, like a Stik-O is made to, you can wacky rig it, but it's also made to fish on a Texas rig. But that wacky Stik-O is literally built to wacky rig, and I catch a lot of bass on that wacky Stik-O, fishing on a VMC #1 weedless Neko Hook. That way I can fish it in that cover, and that thing skips incredibly well, so I can make really accurate skips and get that thing in there because I've got it on a Johnny Morris Carbonlite rod. That's a 7.2 medium action that is called the Wacky Rig rod. It's exactly what it's made for, and it does that really, really well. Fishing a Carbonlite, size 30 spinning reel on it, 10-pound Bass Pro hyper braid, 12-pound XPS fluorocarbon leader, and that was a flawless system. I like that 12-pound leader, especially fishing around that heavy cover. I don't think the fish minded even in clear water. They seem to bite it just fine. And man, that did a lot of it today. Caught some fish on the jig too. It was really important as well. But having that wacky Stik-O there to throw at some of those kind of cruising fish sure made a lot of hay with it. So feels good, man. It's been a minute since we've had a BPT win, and very thankful to get it done up here on a hot Potomac River this week. Head back home to East Tennessee.